Have you ever had your friend point out something and you can't unsee it? Well, my friend Aimee just killed me just a second ago because I switched it over to this side of the studio. And I thought she was going to be very impressed. I thought she was going to be like, wow, you got different vignettes in the studio. And she just looked and she was like, I feel like I'm on the Muppet Show. And I couldn't not see it. Now that I see it, it really looked, this background makes me look like I'm on the Muppet Show. But it's an honor and pleasure for me this morning because I got up early like it was Christmas time. I set my alarm, but I woke up probably an hour earlier because I've been so excited. I've been after this young lady for quite some time, and she's been trying to play it down because she's very humble. And when I asked her to be on the podcast at first, she was like, I don't know what I would say, all these things. She's got over 35 years in the music industry. Just that in itself is one of the things, but also traveled around the world. She's got a background in dance music and hip hop and R&B and all those things, and currently manages one of the most foundational hip hop groups of all time. Every hip hop group that is right now, the foundation of them is the Jungle Brothers. And Aimee manages the Jungle Brothers in addition to other artists, but this is probably one of the most humble, true people that I've met. We got a chance to be able to talk yesterday, and she was just telling me she doesn't do this for the money. She doesn't do it for the fame or the accolades. She does it for the love of the craft. And that's the reason why I wanted to have her on, to be able to have a conversation with an absolute living legend. She is respected by people in the industry wide, but inside and outside the industry, because she's not the one that wants the light on her. She wants to shine the light on everyone else. So it's my honor, my pleasure to bring to you. I told her I was going to force her to be my friend for the rest of her life. Aimee Dancemusicdiva Newman, that it's going to be an absolute pleasure to be able to sit down and have a conversation with her because she's going to try and shine the light on everybody else. So why don't we get this party started?
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turned small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turned small rooms into launch pad flights.
The Muppet Show. Aimee, you were killing me. You know, I've never seen that before. I thought I was going to impress you this morning and I was going to, show out the whole nine, and you just brought me right back down to earth. I love that. I love that the most.
Yeah, and my best friend and I, we are Kermit fanatics.
Where did that come from?
We grew up watching The Muppet Show. And we are Kermit and Fozzie, moving right along when we're on our road trips. We're like the Muppets, the two of us. So we've always been fans.
Aimee, you and I were talking about earlier where the love of the craft, not the shame, not the lights, not the all the stuff. And what I've loved about that part of it is that it really, for me, shaped, I told you yesterday that it really has shaped my entire existence and has been a soundtrack to my life, whether it be from Jungle Brothers to De La Soul to Tribe Called Quest to Talib Kweli, to all these artists that weren't about the fame, weren't about they were about the craft and being the best at it. There's this double side though, right? Where, on De La's new album, they had Dave talking about sometimes I'm paraphrasing here, sometimes the soldiers, the greatest, don't get as much shine as the others. How have you been able to deal with that throughout your career?
Me, myself, or
yeah, because you're in that, you obviously represent the Jungle Brothers, but I mean that's a moniker of yours also, that you're doing this for the love of the craft and that you're a master at what you do, And
I don't do it. I don't do it for myself. I do it. I love to help people, and the funny thing is that when during COVID, we were putting together Todd Terry's documentary. And I had to make a bunch of phone calls to artists that we wanted on the documentary. And one of them was the Jungle Brothers, whom I met years ago. Well, I met Mike. Mike was always at our office. I never met Bam. Um, but Mike was very like so sweet and quiet, and I was like, who in hip hop is like this quiet and nice and whatever. So I always remembered him. So I could never find him on social media or anything like I found everybody else. So I found his website and I was like, hey, I'm looking for Mike, if you could let him call Aimee, blah, 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 for Todd Terry. And he reached out to me and we spoke for like an hour and a half. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, well, we put out this album and because of COVID, it really didn't do anything. And I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, listen, Mike, you know how I work. I ran Todd's label. I was his assistant. I ran his life. Like, can you give me a shot? Like, you guys got to come out and do something. Like, this is crazy. You're the Jungle Brothers, for God's sake. And he was like, yeah, I mean, all right, let's talk. So he came to the city and we sat down and talked. And I was originally just going to do social media for him because I'm like, nobody's even on your social media. Like, I couldn't find you. Um, and it was really funny because it's crazy. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I used to sit in my room. I grew up, my father and had me as a baby listening to the Platters and all the doo-wops, and I love every type of music possible. But growing up, I would sit there in my room with a boombox listening to DJ Red Alert constantly. I wanted to be like DJ Red Alert. And I would record, pause, and make my own mixes. And I'm like, one day I want to be like Red Alert. Full circle. Mike's Red Alert's nephew. Who would have known? And so Mike and I sat down and we talked at lunch, and we called Todd on FaceTime, and I was like, Todd, look who I'm sitting with. And he's like, yo, what's going on? And blah, blah, blah. And we were talking, and I said to Mike, listen, I have this stuff and I want to get to Red Alert. He's like, oh, I'll get it to him. He didn't even tell me that was his uncle, and I didn't even know. And it was funny because being in this business, I didn't even put two and two together, which was so funny. And he said, I'll have him call you. I said, okay. And then Red Alert called me, and I was like, oh, all right. And then Todd was like, Aimee, you didn't know that was his uncle? And I'm like, it was? And I was like, no. And full circle. So then I wound up talking to Bam, who, funny enough, was like, when we got on the phone, he said, I wasn't even going to call you, but Mike wanted me to give you a call because he was living out of overseas, and blah blah blah. And we wound up hitting it off. We sat down and had lunch for like 4 or 5 hours, and it was just I spoke about my ideas and I told them, listen, you really should be on another level right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you guys are the reason why these people are here and these people are here, and how are you not getting the recognition that you deserve? And I just didn't believe and understand why people don't give other people the recognition, and I wanted to fight for it. And it isn't about the money. I mean, listen, we all want to make money, right?
Yeah.
But and even Talib has said that, like, if you're in it for the money, then get out. Be in it for the love of the music, and that's what I'm here for. But I'm also here to get them their rights back,
Yeah.
like what Salt and Pepper's doing. Like, they deserve their rights back. That's their music. That's what they worked in this business for. That's their music. The Jungle Brothers, that's their record. That's what they are here for. They wrote their music. They did all that work. That's their stuff. That's not anybody else's stuff. Why should somebody be making money off of what they worked hard on?
Yeah.
It's not mine. It's not anybody else's. It's Bam and Mike's.
Yeah.
It's not anybody else's. So it should go to them. Plain and simple. They deserve all of their albums back. And that's what I'm working hard for them to get back. And they deserve it. They got their rights back for Forces by Nature in the US.
Uh-huh.
We're working on Straight Out the Jungle, which obviously, Todd did I'll House You. But, you know, even with Todd getting the rights back for that, I mean, they all worked hard on that. And why should Warner Brothers or another label get the money that it's them? They're sitting back getting paid on their name. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So, Aimee, what's the process? Because I asked you yesterday, one of my favorite songs, I reached out to you yesterday. You know this in the text, and I was saying, doing our own dang. One of my favorites, and I told my son, I was like, I'm about to school you real quick, because we've been listening to Jungle Brothers for the last couple of days, and I was like, I'm about to school you, and we looked it up and we couldn't find it, and then we were able to find it on YouTube, but. Then, and you let me know that, obviously working on the rights, getting it back onto streaming, all the stuff. Take me through as far as what it takes, because even De La didn't get the rights back to their music until
Right.
after, right after. I think it was like a month after Dave passed away.
Horrible.
Which
It's
is awful.
horrible. And the thing is and when De La didn't have their rights back, what I did was I actually took their CD, I uploaded it up in iTunes, and I uploaded it on my phone, and that's how I listened to it.
Yeah.
And that's how if you own that physical copy, that's how you can do it. Instead of, I mean, listen, I want people to own the product, but I personally want people to buy the physical product.
Yes.
Buy it, support the artist, buy the physical product, for God's sake, because streaming it, unfortunately, isn't helping your artist. It's giving. I don't support Spotify. I don't support Spotify at all. I do use Apple Music, but if there's a physical copy out there, buy it.
Mm.
You have your physical copy. And what I always did with De La's music, and it's still on my phone, is I uploaded it to iTunes, and then I connected my phone to the computer, and I put it on my phone. That's how I listened to their albums all those years.
Wow. Well, you're
Yep.
smarter. You're smarter than me because I went and literally it was like this abyss because, without it streaming, and a lot of times I couldn't find either the album, the CD, whatever it was. They were hard
Right.
to find, and so I remember it was 3/3/23. I think it was the 2023. So it was De La Soul Day 3/3/23.
Yep.
And the streaming dropped, and I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, here it is." There was a couple of times where they released the catalog from their website, but there was so much traffic that you couldn't be able to get it. So,
Right.
what is the reality of streaming for an artist from the artist perspective? Because from a consumer perspective, they're like, "Oh, the new album dropped. I'm able to just stream it. Why would I buy the physical part of it?" But can you talk about what it means to the actual artist from their side?
Well, if you stream it, you never actually own it because, sorry, realistically, if you read, which nobody reads the fine print, but if you read the fine print, at any time they can pull it, like they did with Jungle Brothers, Forces by Nature,
Uh-huh.
and it's gone. So even if you buy it from streaming, they still own it. You do not own that unless you download it and save it to your computer. So the best thing you could do is buy a physical copy.
Okay.
But you have to start reading the fine print with stuff. It was the same thing with like social media. I never downloaded Manager, the Facebook Manager, a Messenger. Never had it because that gave them access to your phone. They could make physical phone calls from your phone. And if you read the fine print, it says that. It literally says that. And people don't realize that. So if you go back into like your phone bill, which everyone has unlimited calls, you'll see numbers that you don't even know. And they're making phone calls from your phone.
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea on that one.
Yeah. So I never had Messenger on my phone. I mean, listen, Instagram, all that, same thing. Every app, and they'll talk about, oh, I'm not downloading Timu because it's from China or this, and every app is the exact same way. They all have access to your phone. Every app, every single app. But at the end of the day, when it comes to music, you do not own anything if you're streaming. Even with movies, with because I have a digital library of movies. I got rid of, I would say, 80% of my DVDs. I gave them to my father,
Uh-huh.
but some of them, like my Dave Chappelle box set, um, stuff like that, or my break in and my um 80s, like some hard to get. I didn't get rid of those. But a lot of my DVDs, I gave them to my father. Um, or my hip hop DVDs, I saved those. Um, but realistically, like it was funny because Less Than Zero with Andrew McCarthy, um, I have that on DVD. It was available for digital for a while, and then they pulled it.
Yeah.
No more. So even if you own that on digital, it's gone now. You no longer own it. So if you paid for it, it's now gone.
Wow. I didn't even realize that. And thinking about this as far as the ownership and the artist part of it, you just said break in. So that was one of my foundational movie. What's funny about it is my phone was listening to me, must have been, because I had been talking about you and I had been messaging you, things like that from Instagram. But I kept getting hit with Crazy Legs, right?
Right.
And I kept
His
getting
book
hit with
is
Crazy.
coming out. His book's coming out September 22nd, so everyone has to
Well,
pre-order.
we're gonna pre-order on that. It's nuts because I grew up as a breakdancer and I kept seeing his stuff on Instagram. So it was kind of like that Red Alert thing for you, where I've been such a huge fan of his my whole entire life. I start talking to you, he starts popping up on my Instagram. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, maybe Dance Music Diva, whatever it is. And then I find out that there's a connection point with you and Crazy Legs.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I work with Crazy Legs, and he's such an amazing human being. I love him. And he does so much for so many people. When the floods happened in Florida, he went down there and he helped people. He brought um, goods and went down there and you know, brought foods and toilet paper and anything just everything for people that needed it. Um, just helps people everywhere. Um, he's just an amazing human being. Him and his wife. Um, so his book's coming out September 22nd, which
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him. And everyone needs to pre-order it.
Yeah, well, we'll get everyone talking about it and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's funny because again, just massive. I've just been a massive supporter and fan my whole entire life. So I look forward to continuing to support him in that. Let's go back to the Jungle Brothers because with them. Obviously, if you're a hip hop fan, which I know that you have been throughout your life with the DJing part of it, everything like that, you come in contact with, I mean, literally, this is the foundation. Like for me, when you think of the golden age of hip hop, the foundation of the golden age of hip hop is Jungle Brothers. And
Right.
when you look at the Jungle Brothers and you look at all of the people that came on because of it, and we could just name a couple: De La, Tribe, Queen Latifah, Moni Love. We're looking at all this stuff. You encapsulate that too, Busta Rhymes, all that. And I'm just naming just a couple, just off the top, right? All of those guys understand and they revere them, the Jungle Brothers. How do you think that we could get the message out to the younger generation? I was letting my son listen to it, and when my son, literally, Aimee, I turned on a couple of songs. And as they were just playing, he's 14 years old. He's like, he's feeling every bit of the Jungle Brothers. Like when I was talking with Taboo, he was on the show recently, and I was talking to him, and I asked him the impact of the Jungle Brothers, and he was like, we all wouldn't be here without the Jungle Brothers.
Right. It's true. It's true.
How do you think we could get that message out in a better way, or for them to understand, for people to understand, the impact and I think the doors that have been opened. As I was listening yesterday, and I'm just cruising in my car, it was wild because it almost broke barriers because it wasn't just about one type of music. It wasn't about just a backpack rap or a boom bap hip hop. There was dance music involved. There was electronic, and this was way before its time.
Right.
Yeah.
I think too that with all the nostalgia that's going on right now with people that are going more retro, I noticed. And it's funny because the guys, I'm gonna let them announce the date for their new EP because I don't want to be the one but they are going to be releasing a new EP. But I do have to say that watching Bam work, and what I do love is I love working with people that love to work. And watching Bam work is a whole nother level. Like he could do a whole album sitting on a sofa in 24 hours. And he loves the nostalgia stuff. So it was funny because one day we sat here and we talked about 90s, and he had his headphones on, and I said, "Is that beat from?" And he was like, "How did you know?" And I was like, I and I put the song on, and he's like, "Oh shit," like, and we were going off each other from, because that was my A&R brain from back in the day,
Yeah.
from working with Todd, or back from working with Izzy Sanchez from when I started, um, who I loved working with. It was just doing those things and hearing different music and saying, "Oh my God, I love that record. I love that record." So it was definitely that, so I'm like, "Oh my God, that was from Push the Feeling Again," or, you know, this record or that. And then we would hear, uh, like a commercial on, like we had on Pluto TV, and it would like loop. I don't know if you've seen, do you watch Pluto TV?
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay, so Pluto TV is like the streaming channel, and it loops like this, commercials like over and over, but it will loop like, I guess there'll be like some retro commercial or something, and I at one point I'm like, "Oh my God, all right, that's enough." And Bam was like, "You know what? I think I could do something with that." Next thing you know, he's got a record.
Really?
Crazy, just from watching Pluto TV, he came up with an idea, and it was just crazy. So he could just watch something and then just come up with something, and it was amazing. Like, he's got a brain that is insane when it comes to music. Like, hands down, I give it to him. Like, I give it to him. He's a genius when it comes to music.
Well,
He could.
Aimee, collaborations seem to be such a big thing now. Like, even this was a thing that I had a little bit of a challenge with when it started to happen. The reason why is because I've always been a purist as far as music. So when I would get an album, I would love to just hear those people, right? So if I was
Right.
buying De La, I want to hear De La. If I was buying Tribe, I want to hear Tribe. And then there came this age where there was, almost features or collaborations. And then at first I resisted it. I was definitely get off my lawn because I wanted to stay inside my little bubble. But then there was these collaborations that start happening, things like that. And probably one of the greatest collaborations for me, as far as if you just put song together that blazed the trail for this, was Buddy.
I knew you were going to say that.
Right? And so when you listen to Buddy, they were talking about the native tongue. They were talking about this concept, and it wasn't about, hey, I'm the greatest, although every rapper feels that way. It was like, we all together will move mountains, right? And that's been that collective. And then, on De La's Stakes is High, Plug One said the native tongue has officially been reinstated, because there was a little bit of a break from it, and then you came back when Stakes is High, I think one of the most important albums that De La did, with this EP, I know we don't get the date, and I know we don't get to listen to it today. Are there collaborations on this right now, or is this straight up, Mike and Bam going at it? You don't have to say who the collaboration was if there was, hypothetically.
Not okay. So there, you know what? Let the guys tell you everything.
Okay.
I don't want to be the one to break it. I don't want to be the one to give the news. Let them do it.
Yeah. Well, take me back to young Aimee, because relationships seem to be at the cornerstone of everything. You went down, you actually took a hiatus, not a hiatus, but you went down to Brazil and you were DJing and things like that. And then you ended up coming back and working with Todd Terry. But relationships for you seem to be like everybody. Like yesterday, I posted a video about you yesterday, Aimee, and Pasta Noose was liking it. De La was liking it. All like everyone came together and was like, they're just loving on you. It says something about you.
I love though. But De La, they are so sweet though. They're the nicest guys. Like, I have to say that I haven't met anybody in our circle that has been, and I've met people in this business that have been assholes. But Paz, Maceo, like Talib, like everybody has been just so amazing. They've been sweethearts that, like they treat us like family. They really do. We talk all the time. We did Quali Fest, and we spent a week down in Ohio in Yellow Springs with Talib and his manager Donna, who I love. I look up to that woman. That woman is, you got to get her. She is a hard working woman. I don't know how she does it. So even Dave Chappelle, like, I was a fan of his before. That guy was the most humble person I have ever met, ever. Like, I was fanning out at first, and then he had us at his home, and we sat there and just talked to him, and it was like just a regular person and chilling out, talking for a week, and like nothing, and eating lunch and dinner with him and just chilling, like nothing. And he takes care of his whole entire town, like walks around his town like nothing. He takes care of everybody. And if anything that anybody says about him that's bad, like, so not true. So not true. He doesn't, and I was telling you this yesterday, he doesn't talk badly about the gay community at all. He takes care of them. There's people with the gay flags in his town, takes care of them. He's one of the nicest guys. I don't, anybody that says different is wrong, and Talib, and they're all very nice. The Roots, everybody.
So when you grow up with a dance background, a DJ background, the elements of hip hop, all those things, and then you find yourself in the mix and one of the most respected. Like I said, anytime I've mentioned you ever on my social, it's like all of them come out of the woodwork to make sure that they're supporting Aimee at the highest level because of the character part. Was there some pinch me moments for you, like when, because you've been in the business for a long time, so nothing's really going to shock you. You've been around things like that, but from an early stance or early place of Aimee, when you're recording DJ Red Alert on the radio, and I remember doing it with with the boom box where you had to stop it and it would make that sound. And you're doing these kind of things. Now you're in the mix with all the people. Was there some pinch me moments for you?
You know what? I think when I met Method Man, I think, and I have to say, he was the nicest guy ever. But I really wasn't expecting him to be so sweet. But it's funny because one of my close friends was the stunt coordinator on the show Power, which is my all-time favorite show. So he Method Man was at Rock the Bells that Jungle Brothers were performing at, and I had gone up to him and I was like, "Oh, I'm friends with Chaz," and he's like, "Oh, get over here!" And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, to me, I love Method Man, you know. So I think that, I guess Dave Chappelle, but I think I quickly was like, okay, he's just like us.
Yeah.
You know? Sorry.
Is that your ringtone?
Yes, that
Yes. I love
that's
that.
just for a certain person. Sorry.
No, I love it. I love the ringtone. I've had mine on silent.
If you leave that in, he's gonna love that.
Okay, I'll leave it in. I'll leave it in for him.
Hi Mel. Okay. So yeah, so I think that moment really was the maybe pinch me moment.
Yeah.
But I think also just the whole I think more of the like the Power moment. I went on set of Power.
Yeah.
So I think that was more of the pinch me moment, like meeting, Joseph Sikora, and I think that to me was just more exciting.
Isn't it wild though, Aimee? Because honestly, like as you meet the people, like when we were talking about Chappelle yesterday, and you were saying you had a moment, like a flash, and I saw it as this quick flash in your head of like, oh wow, I'm a fangirl. Then you met him, and you were like, oh, he's a human, and making those, and then when you treat a person as if they're a human, you gain access that you wouldn't otherwise gain. Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
the person who just chills out is cool, right? So the crazy thing is one of my friends is a DJ. So her name is DJ 88, and she's a great woman, Bree Delano.
I've heard of her before.
Yeah. She's really good friends with De La, right? So we, and I've been a fan of De La since '89, and so my birthday was coming. This was years ago. We were in Vegas, and she knows my affinity for De La, and she's really good friends with Paz and with Maceo and Dave at the time, before he passed. And she's like, hey, I'm bringing De La to Vegas. Do you want to be a part? So we actually, our company sponsored, because it was my birthday, so we sponsored a concert for them to come. And meeting them, they were playing video games right next to us, in the booth right next to us. And it was one of those things where it went from, hey, this iconic soundtrack of my life to this is a human being that wants to be respected, doesn't want to be looked at like I'm at the zoo, like looking in the mirror. And the connection point with the people. Where did you learn that? Because that art, I think, you have mastered it. And I think that's why you garner so much respect in the industry that you're in, is because you treat people like people as opposed to like objects. Did you learn that from your parents?
No. Um, it's funny when I got my first job at Elite. Well, it was Aziza Promotions with Izzy Sanchez, Elite, and then it switched to Elite ADM. I don't know if you know who Izzy is. He runs a very big promotion company. The first day, well, he found me from, I was working at a record store and uh, back in Long Island, and I would have to um, chart the cassette singles, and he would call me and say, listen, I need this cassette single at number one or number, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, all right, we would just have these conversations. He's like, you need to come work at in the music industry. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to. And I was on my own at the time. Like, it was like, I was like 17 or yeah, just turning 17. And he took me on. I would take a train, the Long Island Railroad from Long Island, Port Jefferson area, straight to Manhattan every day. It was like interning, and I'd work at his office every day. And back then we worked the John Cicada's first album. Yes, Izzy, I'm taking you back. John Cicada's first album. Like we're going back, and that's why I was saying like Nightcrawlers. We worked Nightcrawlers. We worked this a record called Speed Racer. And it was from that cartoon. It was a techno Speed Racer. So we were doing this, and it was funny because we worked RuPaul's Supermodel, and I have a funny story about that. So Izzy told me there are going to be people that are coming into this office, and you are not allowed to ask for an autograph. You have to just let them come in, because we had an office where the elevator opened up and it just came right into our office. It was like a penthouse. And I was like starstruck by everybody. And Izzy was like, Aimee, don't even ask. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, we didn't have cell phones back then. And I'm like, no one's going to believe me. How am I going to do this? And I'd want an autograph and nothing. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, you can't even ask for an autograph. So I'm like, oh my God. So I couldn't do it. And that's how I learned to do it. And I had to live like that. And it was just funny how, like, we worked Madonna's for, it used to be my playground. This used to be my playground. That record. God, Izzy, I'm trying to think of all the records we promoted. So yeah, Angie Martinez was a receptionist back at Hot 97 when I used to go up to the radio station and go up there. She was working receptionist, and I would go up there and work the records. I worked Murder, She Wrote by Shaka Demus. So, like, that's how far back I went.
Wow.
To get that record on the radio.
So yep. What was the process back then to get a record? Because what we would think of when we were growing up, we would hear like a number one hit, right? And we were like, wow, the person produced. This is the silly part of me as an audience. Wow, the person went in the studio, they recorded the album, right? And then it just so happened that a lot of people listened to it and it became number one. But then as I started to become aware of business, I started to realize there was positioning and there was places and ways that those things were constructed. But can you take us through that process? Because again, from a kid standpoint, listening to it, I was like, oh, wow, it was almost like the lottery. They did it, it hit. That's amazing. Is it like that or is it constructed?
I mean, I guess, okay, so I mean, part of me could get into trouble. I guess that's where, I mean, this is where working with Todd Terry comes out, and Todd has taught me. But, um, listen, at the end of the day, you know, you had to pay for placement, plain and simple. Um, and Todd's always said, speak the truth, but, um, and he would. So, um, I would go to the radio station, and once again, for me, I always believe that if you like the record, you should play it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Um, and if you're in it for the love of music, be in it for the love of music. And DJ Clark Kent was like that. If he loved the record, he would play it.
So you would, Aimee, you would make relationships with these DJs like Hot 97, things like that. And then would you physically bring the vinyl
Yes.
down to the radio station? You have a relationship with the DJ. Hey, can we get this on? And
Yeah,
is
and a
that
lot of DJs would not play it unless you were paying them. And I don't care what any DJ says. If they say today that they didn't take money, they took money. I don't care what they're going to say. I saw it firsthand.
yeah.
So, not going to name names. Maybe not yet. Maybe I'll put out a book. But they could say it all they want. But I know for a fact, Todd and I have gone down to see certain DJs and they wanted money. And they will put on social media that they never took money, but they've taken money for records. We went down there with Jazzo at some point, and they wanted money to put his record on the air. So yeah, it's happened.
What's the most unconventional way? Like I think of this and I think like, okay, it makes sense. You're going to promote promote an album, right? So the artist comes to you, hey, I want to sign you guys to be able to promote the artist. And then you get this album, not always, but this is just hypothetical, but I want you to go specific on it. You get this album and you're like, this is a banger. This is like everybody has to have this thing.
I won't promote a record unless I love it, because
Okay.
you can tell totally. If I don't like a record, I'm not going to promote it, because if you're gonna see it, I could feel it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show it. And like, I loved Native Sons, the collab that we did with Talib.
Uh-huh.
Everyone should have been playing it. I loved it. I thought it was genius. I thought it was an amazing record. I don't agree with how stations are today. I feel there's too many politics involved. I feel that them saying that we have to stick to a format is ridiculous. This is why things are failing. Maybe this is why podcasts are taking over. Yeah, I'm going to say it like it is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
radio is going to fail if they are not going to play what is good. And at the end of the day, if you're going to keep playing the same records over and over again and not play what you love and what people want to hear,
Yeah.
it's not, and support your artist, like, what are we doing? What are you doing? And the other thing too is that if artists aren't supporting each other, it's failure. It's failure. It's total failure. You've got people like, I saw on social media yesterday or the day before, you've got Max B ripping apart Big Daddy Kane. Are you kidding me? Like, what are you doing?
Well, even I saw like Speech, and you know Speech too, yeah.
Absolutely. Such a nice guy.
Unbelievable human being, like,
Unbelievable.
and I tell you, Aimee, like,
The
okay,
whole group.
yeah, and JJ Boogie, you know JJ. JJ is unbelievable. He was on the podcast, like, but so I hit him, I hit Speech, but again, this is an iconic guy that I grew up with his music, and I hit him, and I swear to you on my life, within probably 4 hours, he hits me back. And I could tell it was him in the way that he wrote the message. But
Right.
so he comes on the podcast, we connect, we're back and forth, and then he's playing in Joshua Tree. So I said, well, I'll go to Joshua Tree. It's like 3-4 hours from my house. So I drove up, and I drove up early. There's sound check happening out back. I'm having a little bite to eat, but I see there's a guy and a girl pull up in a car next to me, and no one was at the venue at this time. And so I go in, and I see the two people that get out of the car, whatever it was, but I didn't even realize who it was. Well, then I go, they're doing sound check. I walk through like I'm supposed to be there, which I wasn't. I was supposed to be back at sound check. But Speech, honestly, stops everybody, says, Kelly, come over here. And I hang with him. Then they murder it that night. I mean, unbelievable set. They get done. I go to just shake his hand because I got to drive back like 3-4 hours. And I go to shake his hand. He grabs me. He's like, no, come with me. And he takes me back to the artist bungalow. JJ Boogie's back there, and the guy and the girl walk in that I pulled up with, and it was Old School Ice Gree, who was the original A&R of Kanye West. And,
Right.
So it's that type of thing. But the reason why I was saying it is because Speech just, it was 2 days ago, he actually just made a support post about Drake and his album, or his 3 albums that came out. And it was wild how nasty people were on social media because Speech supported somebody and said that he enjoyed their music.
I just don't understand why people just can't support each other.
Uh-huh.
And it's just not right. Like, and this is why we have a problem in this business. It's sad.
Where's the solution for it, Aimee, as far as like, where do you see the, say like music industry? I believe in podcasts. I believe that podcasts, like, I mean, when I said this, it created some division in the room one time, but I'm not talking about any political affiliation, but we've got to realize as a country, we elected officials because of one podcast. That was the decider. And when we realize what the power of podcasts are, and that we don't have to, like, for me, I don't have to, talk about a certain type of music if I don't want to talk about it, if I don't believe in it. That's the reason why I was so excited to be able to have you here, is because what you're doing, the foundational work that you're doing, not only just with the Jungle Brothers, with Crazy Legs, with all the things that you're doing, you're giving a pathway and a foundation for everyone else in hip hop. But I just want them to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, like even with Todd and his stuff, like he just opened a club in Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, why not here? But nobody's supporting the life here, and it's sad. Like they're supporting it there, and I'm like, it sucks. Like they can't support him in his own hometown. Like what's going on? We have like the best DJs here. You know, Todd, Kenny, you know, like even Glenn Frisha, who's an icon, like who will do a party and get everybody up. He's not even playing certain parties, but then you've got these DJs that aren't even DJing. They're letting the computers play for them, and it's driving me crazy. Crazy. Like, I stopped DJing because of that reason. I do not play on a computer at all. At all. I used my CDJs or I used vinyl. I
Yeah.
have never used a computer in my life, and that was when I said, nope, I'm done. Done. I pulled the plug, no pun intended, but done. I will never turn on a computer to let it. I mean, I would use a USB stick,
Yeah.
but I am old school. I'm not.
Where do
I'm
you
not.
see where do you see it moving to, Aimee? Because like we're starting to see more, which I'm so happy about. Like, you know, you and I were talking about it. Nas, The Roots, De La is going to be in San Diego. They're doing. I mean, that one is going to be amazing. You've got Talib is going to be playing here in San Diego at the Belly Up, I believe in like September, October, somewhere around in there.
Right.
You know, there's things swirling about Jungle Brothers and Friends, and you know, like things swirling in the world. How awesome is it to see that people are starting to support that? And I mean, for me, like I'm 50, about to be 51. That's my anthems. I want to see that concert. I want to be around and I want to connect and be able to see that. How has that made you feel that now as people are starting to grab a hold of that nostalgia and want to have those type of shows again?
I like I said, I think people are loving the old school vibe. And that was another thing about like Dave Chappelle. No one can have their cell phones, their smartwatches. And as much as the first day I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? But then I was like, wait a minute, Mike and Bam are here. Like, okay, it's work. Like, they're here. If I need them, we're good. We're in the club, we're good. Um, but then when we left and we took that home with us, like that whole let's disconnect, you know, and I just had surgery and I was laid up for like a month and I disconnected. And it was like the best thing. Like, I'm learning to disconnect.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing feeling. Like, all of us have been starting to do that again. Like, we just Dave Chappelle is really onto something with this phone thing. And there's a lot of clubs now that are all starting to have that no phone policy.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing thing to see the guys perform as much as we wanted footage, but to see everybody watch the show and not see this in the air was amazing. Like, to watch everybody engaging in the show was excellent. And no one had footage the next day. It was crazy. You know, I mean, we wanted footage, but we didn't get it.
How do you
You
walk the
know,
line? How do you walk the line, Aimee? Because like I look at Jungle Brothers and as I was listening yesterday too, and literally I put on, and there's very few groups in the world that you can do this, that you can just put on their music and you don't have to skip. You know what I'm talking about? Like there's
yeah,
always,
absolutely.
you know, back in the day, especially when, you know, when I remember when CDs first came out, we were so happy because we didn't have to, you know, fast forward. And you remember the auto stop where it would fast forward to stop at a song? That was old
Yeah,
school too.
yes, yes.
But when CDs came, it was so great because you would get a CD, like you would get a album or a CD, and you would you would play and it would be like 2 songs on the album that you could listen to, right? They were like the bangers, and then you kind of skipped through the others, whatever it was.
We were just talking about that the other day.
But what's wild is with Jungle Brothers, with the JBs, like you turn it on, you're going to have a party, and it's not going to be like there's a sound from the Jungle Brothers. And I was just thinking about this last night. There's the sound from them, but it's not like it's the emergency broadcast system where it's all the same. You're going to get dance music. You're going to get hip hop. You're going to get lyrical genius. You're going to get R&B with the song Candy. I was listening to that and I was like,
oh my God, yes.
Blows my mind, right? You know, so how do we mix? Because I think the Jungle Brothers are the ultimate in, I think, I'm not saying that they're saying this. You're not saying this because you're representing them. I'm saying this as a fan. I feel they have the right mix of get off my lawn, I'm keeping it real, and adapting to modern day tools and technology because they were before their time. When I'll House You came out, no one was doing house in hip hop.
Right.
And some people had a challenge with it, but those people, they were just before their time. So how can we, as we move forward, how can we keep the get off my lawn, I'm keeping it real, I'm the golden age of hip hop, and then, but also adapt to the modern day tools of technology so we can continue to move those things forward?
Well, I heard Todd say something in an interview recently, and he was saying, which I thought was ironic, he doesn't like when people sample him, which I thought was funny because he samples everybody. It used to give me anxiety when he would come into the office with a record and he'd be like, all right, I have a new record I'm putting out. And I'm like, oh my God, who did he sample? Like, what do we got to clear? And, such anxiety. But he said, and the lady said, why do you not like that? And he said, because he likes people to have their own identity, so I guess like now with like when Mike and Bam were working on this new album, I know that the two of them were thinking nostalgia and new.
Mm-hmm.
They thought of Chance the Rapper. They thought of newer stuff. Mike listens to a lot of jazz. Mike listens to a lot of R&B and hip hop. Bam listens to a lot of rock.
Okay.
So he likes to put a lot of all of that stuff intertwined into all of that. So I could hear it in the music, like all different sounds. And I like that, it's pretty cool how they do that, how, and the two of them, even reggae, like they do this reggae stuff and we were in the studio and they come up with this reggae stuff and I'm like, oh wow, so it is kind of cool, but just to watch them is just amazing. And then I sit there and I'm like, oh, you know what, I like that, like I get excited. So once I get excited, that's when I know I'm going to like the record.
What's the process for them? Because I'm a fan of a lot of different genres of music. There's a band called Switchfoot. I don't know if you know Switchfoot.
I think I've heard of it before. Okay,
so Switchfoot, Dare You to Move was their Grammy award-winning album, but Tim Foreman, the bassist, is a friend of mine, and he took me through, and he was like, what they do is their process for an album is they go up to, they generally rent a home in LA. They live here in North County, San Diego, and they rent a home in LA or in another place, and they take 2 weeks, and the band is together, and they live together. They, set aside and everything like that. And then maybe they have some songs that they're working through, but in that time, that's their creative process where they come up with, there was actually, I don't know if you knew that they had an album called Native Tongue.
I didn't know that, but
I'm going to send it to you. It is unbelievable because it's such a different sound from what they had. So they're kind of, I would say kind of a little bit more alternative rock, whatever it was. But that album came out. So their process is like that. What with Bam and Mike, what's their process when they went through this EP? Do they come up with a concept and then say, okay, we're going to write songs around this concept? Or do they write songs and then say, okay, this fits into this genre that's going to, be the name of the album? Or do they just come up with beats and then they're, lyrically they're going at it? What's the process?
I think more, and it's funny you said that about getting a place and for 2 weeks, because I know that something that they are going to be working on that is going to be something that they're going to do that's going to be very special. But it's very funny that you brought that up. That's why I started laughing. I'm not a good liar.
Here's a side note too for that. In the future, we couldn't do it now because it's rented now. We have a home in Park City that overlooks the lake and overlooks Deer Valley. It's a completely different environment. But in the future, I would love to be able to have the Jungle Brothers go and just stay at our house. Well, I'll provide it. Stay at our house, have that view, and make an album. From they go and stay in the mountains for 2 weeks or whatever it is, and then work through some stuff.
If Sam heard that, he'd be like, "I'm there." Yeah, I'll definitely. I'm sure if he watches this, he'll be like, "Yeah." They usually on this album, Bam really worked on the beats and sent them to Mike. Mike listened to them. If they wanted to change anything, they did, and they wrote around it. And then they went into the studio and fixed stuff up, whatever they did. But they did write around it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I watched the process, and it was really cool watching the process go down and seeing it. It really was. I mean, definitely, I'm proud of them. I'm really proud of them. I just, like I said, for me, I really want them to get back what they deserve, and that to me would be my biggest accomplishment, I guess, because, and I wish I could do that for all the artists, to be honest, because every artist from back in the day, they deserve it. They really do. And it makes me so sad to see these artists fighting for what is theirs.
What could we do as what can we do as an audience to be able to help that along? And as the cool thing for me now, being in media, we have a voice, so we can get that out to our audience to be able to understand. But how can we support artists? Like, I mean, let's talk about you mentioned earlier Big Daddy Kane, and I mean Big Daddy Kane, as far as storytelling and lyrically, he laid a foundation. He changed the game in that. But even before him, Rakim was one of the very first storytellers that took us from the hip hop, the hibbity hip hop, all the stuff, which was great too, because I love Master G. But he took us into a cerebral, Rakim took us into that cerebral storytelling. Then you had a Big Daddy Kane that, just the finesse. When he made the song Smooth Operator, I just believe that was the embodiment. He was just the embodiment of what that was. But we grew up with them. We loved them. But they didn't get the shine or the payback that all of us think that they should get. How can we help that as an audience?
Well, I think also, first of all, like I said, when I saw and heard what this guy, what's Max B? Is that his name?
Max
I,
B.
I
Max B.
He's with French Montana.
Oh, yeah.
I know this is going to sound bad, but I didn't even know who he was
I don't.
until yesterday. So he trashed no, well, I don't want to say trash, but he was like, "Oh, where has Big Daddy Kane been? Like, he's not he's not doing anything today." And I was like, don't talk about somebody when you don't even know what they're doing. Like, are you serious? So he was on Wallow's podcast. That's where he said it. And I'm just like, yo, I can't. Like, you just spent how many years in prison, and you just got out of prison. You're working with French Montana, and okay, you're doing your stuff. That's great. Love French Montana's new song. I do. I love it. And I'm working with this artist, TDI, who is incredible. I love him. He is amazing. He has been doing such great freestyle stuff. That did a freestyle over French Montana. Um, Red Alert actually started playing TDI in New York. Probably I would say a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, maybe. And that's how I met. Well, actually, I met TDI through our photographer, Brian.
Okay.
And he's incredible. So I will say that TDI is on Jungle Brothers' new album. That I will say. That I will give you.
There we go. There we go.
And he is incredible. The most humble person. And you are going to hear so much about this guy. It is unbelievable. But so back to this thing, and you have to have TDI on your show.
Oh yeah, we're going to get him on as soon as possible. I want to make sure that we honor him as much as possible. How can we as an audience though honor them? Like say like the Big Daddy Kanes or when I say it, I made a post, it was a couple months ago. This was when you and I were kind of back and forth. It was right before the surgery time or whatever it was. And I was saying like, honestly, you need to put on the Jungle Brothers. Like today, put on the Jungle Brothers. If you're listening to this, put on the Jungle Brothers today and listen to like any album. I don't care what album you grab any album, put it on, listen to the whole thing through. You'll know what I'm talking about, that this was way before its time. I mean, you look at
I think that's what it is. I think it is just posting about it. It's talking about it. It's having conversations. It's getting knowledge out, because realistically, I'll say to someone, they're like, "Who's the Jungle Brothers?" I'm like, "Do you know who De La and Tribe is, and Queen Latifah?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, then you'll know who Jungle Brothers are." And I'll say, "Google them," and they'll Google and they'll go, "Oh my God, I do know who they are." And if they hear "I'll House You," they'll go, "I didn't even know that was them."
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's sad, but it's taking the people talking about it or social media to do posts about it for people to learn about it. And
What about
that's,
the, like, when you were talking about the doing your own dang, when can we look forward? Is that in the process? I mean,
yeah,
because
yes,
and
yes,
anyone out there right now, you could go on YouTube and listen to that song, and then I want you to buy the album, buy the physical album, like Jungle Brothers, doing your own dang, like that song is, I mean, in addition to so many others, but that one, there's very few, especially in the hip hop genre, artists or groups that you could play a song at any decade and it would be like, oh, wow, this one hits. And that's what the Jungle Brothers is. All their hits are not like, oh, wow, I'm a nostalgic guy, so I just need to have nostalgia. No. You listen to this, you would feel like it was made today. That's the cool thing about their music, right?
totally. And the other thing too is that what I really want to do, well, they want to do. I don't want to say I want to do because it's really them. Um, like remaster it, bring it back to today and uh, put it back out, you know, um, and bring it back out for the fans, and they want it. They definitely want it. Um, where the new album what I will say is it is coming out on Todd Terry's label.
Okay.
So that will give you a little hype.
Well, that
That
now
has something to do with it.
with this album, because obviously, like back in the day, you have a person sign a record deal back in the day. It was basically like you're just signing away your life. You're never going to see anything from it. There was a lot of artists that saw zero
Right.
from an album. Today, we're a little smarter in business. Artists are owning the rights. They're writing the songs. They're, things like that. Take us through the clearing process, because you hit this just a second ago. And this was a big reason why De La wasn't allowed to have their rights, and they went through a lot of challenges. In reading about them, they assumed that the samples that they had were going to be cleared. Can you take us through that process? Because most of us, when we hear a sample, we're like, oh, cool. Paul McCartney, they called him up, they high-fived, and then they moved on until I actually interviewed Speech, and he told me, I didn't know this, but you know the song Tennessee, right?
Yes.
So when it says Tennessee, that's actually Prince.
Right.
So that's Prince from Alphabet Road, and
Yes.
they slowed him down, and then Prince called Speech, and said, but it was after the chart top. I went to the top of the charts, and then it started to go, started to drop a little bit. And then Prince called him, and he set a static price, just one price, and he would have the give back the rights to Arrested Development to Speech in perpetuity, which was amazing of Prince, because he could have had, a piece of it the whole time. That's not generally the case. How does the clearing process actually happen?
Well, usually we have to contact the label,
Okay.
or and then get clearance through that way. I would rather not have samples. I don't like to go through all that. Like I said, my anxiety used to be through the roof dealing with Todd with his samples. I used to get phone calls every day from the samples that he used to have every single day.
Aimee, is it a set price, or like when I was reading about De La's, it was like the most abstract sample that I could ever imagine, and no one would have listened to that music. But
Well,
do the people posture up when you call them and say, "Hey, look, I got this new artist. They're popping. They're going to sample your song." Do they then change the price? Like, "Oh, wow, it used to be 5 cents. Now it's, $4 million because I know your artist is hot." Is that the way that the industry works?
well, you know what? I think that a lot of people um, added more to the amount if you already used it
Mm.
and you had that record done and you already used it. For instance, like when we had um uh back then, Todd did the Raining record. I don't know if you know about that. And um it was our, when I tell you, our biggest, and I knew it was going to be a problem. And Todd said, "Don't worry about it. We're going to press it up. It's going to be good." I said, "Todd, okay." I gave it to Skribble. I gave it to every DJ. David Morales was like, "Aimee, I need two." Okay, not a problem. Gave David and Skribble. I told Skribble, I said, "Listen, do not, when you play it at midnight, please do not play the intro." Well, Skribble played the intro. And I love him because the next morning we got a phone call, and that intro was the whole intro to um, Donna Summer and um, uh, Diana, Donna Summer and Barbara Streisand, "Enough is Enough."
Mm.
And how long was that intro? Like 3 minutes? It's
Wow.
raining. Yeah. So when I put on the radio and I'm listening to Scribble's show and I hear the crackling and then and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so screwed." And I walked into the office the next morning, and I was like tiptoeing. And Todd walked in, and I was like, "We're in trouble."
Mm.
And phone started ringing. And we had to literally replay it, I mean, have it redone by Shawnee Taylor, who is amazing. One of my favorites next to Deanna. Do you know Deanna? She's in Vegas.
I don't know,
Deanna
Deanna.
Malone. Oh my
Uh-uh.
God, she actually has a show in Vegas right now.
Really?
And oh my God, I love her. She's like one of my best friends. Love her. She's got a voice of God. Yeah, she has a show in Vegas. She was on America's Got Talent.
Okay.
She's unbelievable. She was from the commercial, "I've got type 2 diabetes and I manage it well." That one.
Oh, yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
She's absolutely amazing. Anyway, she's got a show in Vegas right now. So she's also my next favorite, my favorite vocalist. So she's doing a diva show in Vegas.
Oh.
Everyone's got her out. But Shawnee Taylor did the vocals for "Enough is Enough." We had to redo it. And that's how we got over on it. So that's how we had to clear it, realistically. But whoever owns that promo of that vinyl has a gem.
Wow. So
But
if you
they wanted millions of dollars.
really
Millions of dollars. So thank you, Skribble.
So one of our favorite movies, my wife and I were connected on it because I think it was the first movie that we ever went and saw together. We were friends at the time, and then we started holding hands in the theater, and things went from where they went to. But it was Dave Chappelle's Block Party, and
Okay.
in watching that documentary, for me, seeing all the artists, like it was almost as if Dave reached into my mind and just said, who would you want in a concert, right? When you think about Jungle Brothers and Friends, if you were able to pick a lineup, right? And I know there's going to be some bangers, but you had to add in R&B, right? So you had to add in some R&B to it, and you had hip hop. Who would be the ultimate, like, as far as showing up at that concert?
God, now I'm gonna have Mel on my shoulder. Okay, so is this my opinion or well?
I would say your opinion, like you as a, this may not sound good in marketing. I'm not but I like to put together shows, Aimee, that
Right.
I want to pee my pants.
I was just talking.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you and I were talking about this last night.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed what we did in LA with the Roots, and I have to say, yet again, one of the most hardest working people as a male is Questlove. And I told him straight up, like, I've never in my life seen anybody work as hard as he does. Like, I didn't even see him use the bathroom. Like, he went from the drum set like all day. Like, I have never seen anybody work as hard as him. I have so much respect for that man. Love Questlove, and such a nice guy as well. I would say the Roots.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, because every one of them were so nice. I would say De La.
Yeah.
I would say R&B. My God. I would definitely want Nas on there because Nas. I'm gonna be biased because he's my favorite. um, um, you know what? I have to say, Bam's cousin is, and he does he does a toss between hip hop, R&B. He's really really good. Um, I would put TDI. He's more hardcore because I would like to have a variety.
Yeah.
I would like to have like different stuff. Um, R&B. I would say Chris Brown because I'm not.
My wife would show up to that concert.
I'm a Chris Brown fan. I don't like Usher.
My wife would show up to that concert. My wife is such a huge Chris Brown fan. I tell you, you know who would
Bruno
be?
Mars.
Oh, good Lord. Could you imagine the Roots and Bruno Mars in the same room, and then you add the JBs there, like, you know what I'm saying, like that on stage? Could you imagine that?
You know what? Take off Chris Brown. Put Bruno Mars because I think also the Latin vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that alone, um, I think that would be really dope. Um, yeah, I think Bruno Mars would be something, but then I would also like something like a Latin, um, something Latiny too. You know, I would like to have like or Brazilian or something. Because I do love Brazilian music. I
Yeah.
love that Brazilian vibe. And I partnered up with this guy, Junior from Brazil.
Uh-huh.
So I partnered up with him. His father, Zico, he was very famous. We call it soccer, but they're football. Um, in Brazil, he was like, I guess next to Pele.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I partnered up with him. So we're gonna start working together, and yeah, so we're gonna start doing stuff together. So you'll see us doing stuff musically.
You know who is the most underrated? I think most underrated and most underappreciated in the R&B market. And you know
Oh, we
that
gotta have Talib too.
oh,
Gotta have
of
Talib.
course. You know though, Aimee, who has a birthday this Saturday in the year of 1975 and is the most underappreciated R&B artist of our generation. You know who that is?
Who?
Maxwell.
Yes. Yes. I wasn't even thinking of him. Yes.
And do you know, you want to hear a cool fact on this one?
Go.
1975, May 23rd, this Saturday is also my birthday. And so
Oh, you're a Gemini?
Maxwell and I have the exact same birthday and the exact same year. And I came in contact with Maxwell when his first album dropped, Urban Hang Suite, which is, I think, arguably, I believe that he is the Marvin Gaye of our generation. And could you imagine to have Maxwell there, JB's there, The Roots there, Nas, Talib, De La? Could you imagine?
Do you know who else I really like?
Who's that?
Jacob Banks.
Jacob Banks. I haven't heard Jacob Banks.
Love, love, love him. I found him on the show Power, actually,
Mhm.
and have been listening to him ever since. His voice is unbelievable. Like, love him. But then again, I also really love that poetry sound like Jessica Caramore, um, and Omari Hardwick, who does like the hip hop poetry. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if you've heard his album.
I haven't.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. People don't realize it, and they just think, oh, he's an actor, and oh, we're gonna just pass by. Very underrated.
Really?
But yeah, absolutely. You have to check out his album. Like, Omari Hardwick's album is really good. And I'm not just saying that as a fan
Yeah.
of his acting, because I am, but as a music lover, every Friday I go through music. Like, whenever the music drops, I go through all the music, like everything. And I go through it, I listen to it. I don't care who it is, because my playlist is very, eclectic. I have every genre from Frank Sinatra to Brazilian to everything. We'll be on when we were on our road trip to Dave Chappelle's, Brian, our photographer, was in the car, and he's like, I can't believe that we'll go from Frank Sinatra to Def Leppard to, like, because Def Leppard is like my favorite rock group ever.
Yeah.
To Omari Hardwick, to, the Platters, to, like, I listen to everything, even to the Muppets. Like,
Yeah.
I listen to everything. And yeah, because I like the sounds, or I love listening to the beats, or, you know, the drums, or, and that's what I loved also about being in Brazil when I was there, is you hear the percussion, you hear the sounds that they're using, and even with the kids, they're learning from music, you know? So it's definitely, it's something that you learn from, and I love it. That's what I love about it. So it's good.
Aimee, what like a kid getting into the music industry now? Like, you know, obviously you've got to see so many different, you know, facets of it. You got to, you know, see the tapes happening. You know, you probably saw your parents using a reel to reel, right? So you
My
go
dad.
from, yeah. So your pop, like, you know, my pop was a reel to reel guy too. So I see a reel to reel, then I see an album, then I see, you know, a tape. And then I remember when DATs came out. Remember when DATs came out and everyone was like, oh, that's going to be the new thing. And it was like, no, it ain't. It's like beta for VHS. And so you saw DATs happen, and then you saw, you know, the auto reverse cassettes happen, which was a game changer. Then you saw the CDs, and then you saw, you know, the downloads, and then you saw the streaming. If a kid was to get into the music industry now and you were able to sit down and have a conversation with them, what would you let them know to be able to help them to see things and give them an unfair advantage on their journey?
Love it. Don't be in it for just the money. Be in it because you love the music, because you have to really, it has to be in your heart. Like you can't be in this just because, or you think you're going to make $1 million off of music. You know, pick a whether it's um whether you want to do music for movies, or um touring, or pick something. Like I'm all over the place. I do like management, promotions. I'm in every genre there is, because that's where I came from. I started doing promotions. Management, like everything, DJing, like, but I have a love for everything. And now I just, like I said, I really would love to get these artists back what they deserve, and I hate the fact that I'm seeing the artists not being able to get their rights back to what belongs to them,
Yeah.
you know, and don't sign any contracts at all. Read everything, please.
What's the process of being able to get it back? Like once they've signed the contract, and like with the guys, I mean, with De La, there was a larger company that ended up buying it from Tommy Boy, but then they had agreed by buying it, then they were going to give it back or give a large portion back to De La. That was an amazing thing for that company to do. But what is the process for even say like the JBs to be able to get back the rights? Because once they got back the right, there's the opposite side of say like a Taylor Swift where she just re-recorded all her stuff, but then there's the competing of the company owns this record, she owns this record, and as a fan, I've got to consciously say I won't listen to the record of the company. I've got to listen to her new one, but that becomes sometimes confusing for a listener themselves. So what's the process for the JBs to get back their rights to their music?
I think that well, there's a lot of stuff that we're working on behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes that obviously we can't talk about.
Yeah.
But um, they will get their stuff back. I will say this: they will get their stuff back. I will make sure of that. And they deserve it. No one deserves to get their stuff. They really don't. Um, Mike and Bam deserve their money. They deserve what belongs to them, plain and simple. Um, but I feel that if you are a fan of theirs and if you support them, um, you will listen to what they put out. So if they are going to, let's say, re-record it and they're putting it out, and to be honest with you, when you listen to the old recording, it's very low. The sound is very low. So if they did re-record it, it's going to sound a hell of a lot better.
Mm.
People are going to listen to it. It's a
So
no-brainer.
So in that process, Aimee, if they were to re-record it, right? If they were to remaster it, would they own the rights to that remaster, or is that still, would you still have to fight
Well,
for the
the
rights of that?
publishing and stuff like that would still, there's still a lot of stuff that we have
Okay.
to deal with. But yes, I mean, you know, they have to do over the whole thing and stuff like that. But
Okay.
you know, everything behind the scenes, you know,
And
we're
that's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of
it
work
is a lot of
too.
work, and unfortunately, they don't make it easy
Yeah.
for us. You know,
Is
they're
there
selling all
is
these bootlegs are going on right now.
yeah. Is there a world where um, streaming could benefit the artist? Is there a world, like if you were able to make up a formula and say like, okay, well, the streaming part is broken because I remember hearing Snoop say something. He had like 1 billion streams and, you know, he made a couple $1,000s or whatever it was. I'm probably not great on the details of that, but it's that kind of disparity. Is there a place where the audience can still keep the convenience of like, hey, I want to hear the JBs. Let me hop on my phone really quick and just bring up everything, and the artist win in that also. Is there a place where both can happen?
I know Bandcamp has a platform where they're giving back to the artist. I know Mr. V. Do you know Mr. V?
I don't know, Mr. V.
Uh, DJ and artist, very close friend of mine,
Okay.
and he's like family to me. And actually, I'm so proud of him. He did a record, Just Dance, and Janet Jackson um, had his record part of her tour, which was amazing.
Wow.
And during her 60th birthday, that she just posted about, she had his record playing in her post. And she was so kind enough to invite him to her concert and bring him backstage to meet her, to thank him for allowing her to use his record. So I'm so proud of him because I've known V for, God, so many years. And to see him come this far is just amazing. He works so damn hard, and he is so effing talented and deserves so much. And yeah, he's been fighting for this, for the AIs and all of this stuff not to happen, and you know, people not to steal his work.
Uh-huh.
So he's been heavy on this. So we've been, you know, talking a lot about the whole band camp and this and that. And he's been dealing with that. And we've been discussing this a lot. So he's been helping me a lot with that, to understand that. So he's on Bandcamp, and that's been, you know, a big platform that helps.
How can an artist too, like what I was noticing is, you know, there's not as, when I say this, obviously they want to be able to get the money from the music itself, but the music itself can get the word out there to be able to create so many other opportunities for the band or for the individual, right? And so it can be it's almost like maybe I'm dumbing this down, but you know, the music could be the lead generation to be able to grab the audience ear and then be able to have so many different facets, right, of the business for the person. So it's not, I mean, the music is making money, but not directly, but it's making money in different areas. Say, for instance, you know, for us with the podcast, I mean, we've got sponsors. We love that part of it. We you know, but I could tell you this, like for me, the audience. So, you know, say for instance, I do a podcast, person hears me on the podcast, they hear me with you, I'm hanging out, we're connecting, all those things. A lot of times that turns into speaking engagements or consulting gigs. So it may not be the exact, like it may not be direct. Is there that world for artists and musicians where then they can have, you know, basically have their cake and eat it too, and utilize the music? So in the event that you know, Spotify didn't pay them, you know, on their billion streams, but they got in a billion people's ears, how can we turn that and help the artist to be able to benefit on maybe not just the music part of it, but all the rest that can happen from them?
Well, I mean, honestly, people don't make money off of the albums anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're hopefully going to get shows.
Okay.
That's what we want. That's what we're hoping for,
Yeah.
is the bookings. And you know, so it's crazy because we did this video with the Chiltias, the two ladies in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I saw that they are so sweet. And I said to them, like, hey, I'm like, you know, listen, do you want to do one with the Jungle Brothers? She was like, oh my God, yeah. We literally met up. We had this idea because it was Dave's anniversary. And I said, I'm going to make these little paddles for Dave's anniversary. And then I came up with this other idea, having Paz and Maceo on it. And then, you know, I said, we'll have, you know, Mike and Bam just pop in. And we did it at Hidden Tiger, and we did the video, and it went viral, like viral. It was like the craziest thing. But we did Buddy so we can have Paz and Mace join in on it.
Yes.
And have it at Dave's anniversary. And we put "Thank You, Dave" at the end. And having that alone off of the the bass and bars with
I know what you're talking about.
oh my God, I'm drawing a blank too. That video, it was just a no-brainer. We literally it was just nonstop with Brady Watts. So it was a no-brainer, and everybody was like, oh my God, like, we love Buddy, you know. So now when we do a show, you know, we've got Mike and Bam coming out, just doing their verse. I mean, obviously it's a show that really, it was De La's record.
Yeah.
But, you know, it would be great if they all did it together.
Yeah.
Now, would we love a Native Tongue reunion? Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes.
Like, that's what everybody would love. That's what we keep getting asked for.
When someone,
So
when
I'm
someone,
not making an announcement today.
no,
I'm
no, no.
not-
I understand that. I understand that. But when someone talks about native tongue, like when you talk about that, there's foundational members. List off the foundational members of what makes up the native tongue, because I think that there's people who listen to the golden age of hip hop. There's people that listen to Tribe and De La, and they say they're, you know, in Jungle Brothers, and they say, hey, this is my favorite. But sometimes when you refer to the native tongue, they kind of look at you like, and I'm like, if
It's Jungle
you got to know your
Brothers.
history, you got to know your history. Break them down for us.
Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, and Black Sheep. Right?
Yes.
That was it?
Yes. I mean,
And
could
it's
you
like-
imagine? Could you? I mean, and we could Google that, but can you imagine
Yeah,
that?
no, that's it.
Can you imagine that concert? I mean, that concert.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's a festival. That's an all day festival. Okay, let me ask you this, Aimee. So I went into a place, South Dakota. I was doing a speaking engagement there. It's called the Day of Excellence. I went on my walk. I walked into a barbershop. I just love barbershops because my dad took me to one when I was a kid, and I connected with this guy named Jerry, and he used to give me a haircut. He used to pull the number and wait and, you know, whatever. And I remember one time I pulled the number and I was waiting, but Jerry was busy, and this other dude is like, he called out my number, so I hid the number because I didn't want to get my haircut by that other dude. The dude rolls up on me. I'm only 10 years old. Dude rolls up on me, stands over the top, and he says the number. I'm the only kid in the barbershop, so he knows I have the number. And I just started looking, and he looks over, he's like, you got the number, don't you? And he gets kind of aggressive. This is an old dude, like probably in his 50s. I'm 10. He stands over the top of me, and I was like, oh, I'm waiting for Jerry. And he's like, and then he just kind of flexed on me. He's like, what, you don't think I could cut your hair? And I was like so freaked out that I let this joker cut my hair. Worst haircut I've ever had in my life. My brothers made fun of me. They said I looked like an owl. The dude gave me a flat top with two, like, long pieces on the side. I looked like an owl. I lived that down. That's to say I love barbershops. So I go into a barbershop in South Dakota. I'm there. I walk in, this guy tells me the story about his brand, whatever. I think he owns it. He doesn't. He invites me back. The owner, is there. And I end up talking to the owner, and I said, what's the number one profit center for your business? And the kid looks around, and he's like, the haircut. And I said, I was like, I'll push back on that. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? And I said, I would push back on that because I would say that it's probably not the haircuts. It's most likely something else. And then he told me about some products that he had. And those products that he had 3 of them. And if you bought, as a customer, if you bought all 3 of them, his profit margin, what he took home on the bottom line was $50. And I was like, okay, well, there's $50 profit in these things. So he which was a great profit margin. And then I just did math. He had 5 barbers. He had 15 clients per barber. That's 75 people. 75 times 50 is $3,750. But if we round that up to 4,000, you take the 4,000 times 5 days a week that they were open, that would be 20,000. 20,000 times 50 weeks in a year was $1 million in profit.
Wow.
That he was letting walk out the door. And the reason why I was letting it walk out the door is because the client was not educated on what was the most important for the barbershop to sell. Does this make sense? So as an artist, how can you educate the audience to purchase the thing that will benefit the artist the most? So the artist continues, because if this kid that owns the barbershop, if he had $1 million more in profit, which he didn't even make $1 million, he doesn't make $1 million right now. But if he made $1 million more in profit, how he could service the person who sat in his chair would be completely different. As an artist, talking to the audience and letting them know, this is the most important thing that you can do for us as a group so we can continue to produce the greatest music that you could ever hear. What would that thing be that the audience can know about so we can support and we can make sure that we're buying it, we're supporting it, so the artists will benefit, and then that way we just continue to get great music?
Their merch.
Really?
Yeah, definitely their merch. But directly from them, not these places on Etsy or eBay, or go directly through them. I saw, and I actually reposted I had seen it, I think it was on TikTok or Instagram. Somebody had said you would pay thousands of dollars for a Jay-Z ticket, but you could not pay $40 for your favorite artist's t-shirt. And I was like, it's so true. Like, here we are, like, or $50 we charge, let's say, for a Jungle Brothers tee. And people like, oh, that's so expensive. That's so expensive. Do you know how much it costs to make? And especially today. But you'll go and pay how much for a Jay-Z ticket? And how much for a Jay-Z t-shirt when you go to the concert? And how much for a hot dog at a whatever? Or, like, it's amazing to me. Or, I was having this argument with, and I'll put my brother on blast. I don't even care. Um, he had something of mine. He has something of mine, and I wanted it back. And I asked him to send it to me, and he said he was going to bring it to my father's. And I said, no, can you send it back to me, or uh, get me a new one? And he said, no, I'll bring it back to my father's. And I said, that's not the option. Okay, well then, you know what? Stop supporting your favorite sports team, or whatever, and give me that back. Like, if that's the whole thing, like, if you could support something
Uh-huh.
or do something, and I know that that's personal,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever, but so if you're going to support something, so when it comes to the Jungle Brothers, um yes, if these people could go out there and go buy a Jay-Z ticket, or a Jay-Z ticket for, what was the concert ticket going for? How many thousands of dollars? Right?
Yeah.
You could buy a $50 t-shirt, $40 t-shirt when you're at Jungle Brothers and Friends,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And it's, the thing is that with Jungle Brothers, at every show that they have done, they come out afterwards and they hang out with you.
Wow.
They sign the merch. They sit and talk to you at the Jungle Brothers and Friends. It's personal.
Yeah.
They are hanging with you. They make it about you.
Well,
They make it
I
about
can
you.
imagine that, Amy, because if you had a concert, like say you have a concert and it's 750 people, and 750 people, they all buy a T-shirt, which, I mean, these kind of things can make a massive difference. And the reason why I say it is because most of the time, I don't think that it's the audience doesn't buy it because they don't want it. I think it's sometimes we don't realize how important it is to the artist. And for the artist, and when we just talk about we talk about the doing it for the love, all those things, but also too putting on phenomenal shows and producing phenomenal records, it takes finances to be able to do that. And if we support the artist at the highest level, whether it be buying their vinyl from their website, or buying their music from their website, or supporting them, buying concert tickets, buying merch, the support of it, I think that as an audience, we can, I'm not blaming the audience because I'm one of them, but I think the more we get educated about it, like the kid Dom, he just wasn't taking the time to let a person know that was getting a haircut, that,
Right, of course.
that needs the shave cream and the beard cream and all the things. They already use it, but they just buy it someplace else. If they would just buy it, which
Buy
they're
it
going to
to
buy
a-
anywhere, but buy it from the artist,
Uh-huh.
it's a mind changer, because sometimes a person goes to a concert and they're like, oh, there's another thing they're trying to sell me. No, we're not. What we're doing is we're giving you an opportunity to, when you were talking about the merch, and I didn't realize that it was that big of a deal, but it's an opportunity for us to support the artist, which we love anyway. And we get to experience the music over and over again. We buy the album one time, but when we go and see them, or we buy the merch, or we wear the merch, or we post on social media about them, or any of those things, it helps to be able to build the brand. And for me, it's like, that's why the podcast has been so important, is because I want to make sure that we have a voice. We have a voice for the Jungle Brothers that really set the foundation, like all of hip hop, every bit of hip hop that is
And I
existing
don't
right
know,
now.
and I don't know if any other artist does this, but I know with us, um, and I could show you, so you could, like, when I see you, I could show you.
Yeah.
We have email after email from every person that has received a merchandise from the Jungle Brothers. We have received the most amazing emails, because they have received a handwritten card from the guys, autographed from them, thanking them for purchasing it from them. We've given them a gift with it. It has come in a beautiful envelope. They're not just getting it thrown in the mail, whatever. They are getting a nice delivery, and the messages that they receive saying, "I cannot believe how we are getting a package from the Jungle Brothers." Like, this just shows the level of, appreciation you have for your fans. It's definitely worth. We've never had a complaint, ever. Yep.
It's amazing. Well, and that's the thing that, that I've found. We just call it it's a little phrase called speaking life. And I think there's so many places that you could speak life into, whether it be your favorite band, your favorite artist, the music industry, all those things. But it just has to be specific. Like I would say anybody listening today, do me the favor, just one thing. Like one thing, go on your social media. If you're listening to this right now, go on your social media and like, number one, go listen to Jungle Brothers, but then post about a song that they did and put the song on, lower in the background, whatever it is, and tag them. Like, I just think that those kind of things mean so much to not only artists, but just people, where most of the time people are just trying to promote themselves. That's why I think that you're such an icon, Aimee, is because, and I know you shun this, but you're about making sure that everybody else has a light on them. And I just think that that's an amazing, amazing trait that you have.
No, I appreciate that, but I don't look at it like
I mean, that's why I think that the respect is so garnered, is because a person really feels seen and feel heard by you, because it's not the Aimee show. It's you're focusing on everybody else and the good of everybody else. And I think this is the thing that my pops talked about all the time, was that, if you help everybody else get what they want, you'll never have to worry about what you want, because that will be provided. And when I look at the spaces that you're in and the places and the friends, and I mean, you're not a name dropper, but in a 15, 20-minute conversation yesterday, it's mind blowing to understand that these aren't just, you fangirling on somebody. These are your friends. These are people that are connected with you. And I want to compliment you on it at the highest level.
I do want to say, though, that if it wasn't for Deborah Erickson, I don't know if you know her.
I don't know
But
Deborah Erickson. Not yet.
okay, so because I do have to give the females in this business their kudos, because Deborah Erickson, um, she does promotion. Deborah Erickson gave me my shot. She saw what I had, and when I was at Izzy's office, she was like, "We got to give this girl a shot to do promotion," and she saw it in me. She put me on the phones, and that's where I started. So I have to give Deborah a big shout out. And it was there where I got like Glenn Frisha. Um, he would answer my phone on a dentist chair. Like I was getting DJs on the phone on the dentist chairs. Like, that's how I was. Like, they would answer my call. I would be getting those records played. And but then Hazel Zaletta, who was at Tommy Boy, she actually was a road manager for De La back in the day. Um, Hazel Zaletta, to this day, her and I are, that's my dog, love her. She I look up to her. The way she does promotion is unbelievable. And if it wouldn't be for the women in this business, like the Donnas, who Talib's manager, and people like that, we need more women like us. When I see women doing, stuff like this in this business, it makes me so happy, because we need more people like us. We really do. So, kudos to us.
You're an absolute light too. So, yeah, Aimee, I started the podcast because of my two kids, Maddox and McKenna. And McKenna, hopefully you'll get to meet them both, because my daughter's going to be out there for Vogue Summer School at Pace University in July, and then we're going to come at the end of
Love
July.
to.
And I'd love for her to meet you. But so McKenna, who's 17, and then my son Maddox, who's 14. And I wanted to humanize their heroes, right? I didn't want them to worship idols. I just wanted them to be inspired by iconic people like yourself. So what advice would you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could use both their names, it would be awesome.
What are they going to be doing?
So Maddox plays sports, but he's also into film production and broadcasting. And then my daughter is in the arts, so she sings, dances, performs, but she's looking at the business side of fashion is where she's the most excited about.
Okay, so, well, Maddox is into sports.
Sports and broadcasting, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so he should meet Junior from Brazil, because he does podcasting as well, but his side was also with the football for soccer.
Yeah.
I mean, McKenna as well. Follow your dreams. Just don't give up. Like, do it. Just don't take no for an answer. If someone said you can't do it, do it. Like, no one ever, if they told me no, I said, I'm going to show you. And that went with, I know that you're not going to like this, but that went with my parents too. Like, that was like, if they told me no, I did it. You would have to tell me to do it for me not to do it. Like, that's how it went with me. So I don't know if that was a good question for me.
No, it was amazing. It was
But
incredible.
yeah, no one told me I couldn't do something. They couldn't, because I would do it. That's how I.
What about a message to the Jungle Brothers? I mean, I know you're around them a lot, but I think a lot of times when we're around somebody, sometimes they don't understand what they mean to us, right? And so, it's a thing that I refer to as speak in life, where you use their name and then you say something specific that that would make sure that they understood that it was a personal thing, and maybe something that they don't hear enough from you.
Well, first of all, I messed up because we posted today that today was Bam's birthday, and it's actually tomorrow. So my bad. We'll look at it like it's on the other side of the planet. He won't care. So happy pre-birthday, Bam. No, you know what? They're family, and I don't work with people that I don't love their stuff, number one. I can't work with people that I don't love their music, that I don't feel appreciated. That's a big thing. We've become a family. I guess I have to have trust, and there's just a lot of that, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's really what it's about, but yeah, and it's all about fighting for each other, to be honest. And that's what I will do for anybody that I work with. Whether it's them, it's TDI, it's Crazy Legs, it's Glenn, it's Skribble, anybody that I work with, I will fight for. So yeah.
Well, they're all lucky to have you on their side, Aimee.
Oh,
It's
thank
it's it's
you.
incredible to be able to see. So I want to thank you so much for honestly being on the show. And it's not. I mean, this isn't. Well, this is the first time, but it isn't going to be the last. I told you I was going to force you to be my friend for the rest of your life, and so
Yes.
I would love to have you on more. Because there's going to be different things that come up. There's going to be different areas, but I think that the more awareness that we can get about, I mean, obviously we want there to be awareness about the artists that you work with, but also just as an industry as a whole, for us as an audience to be more educated and for us to understand what means the most to the artists and how we can support them the most, I think is a really, really, really important thing, especially in today's society. So I want to thank you so much. Will you stick around for a second? We're just going to run a commercial and then will you stick around? Is that cool?
Of course.
Aimee, you're awesome. It was
And we'll
such a
get the
pleasure.
Jungle Brothers on.
Say that again.
We will get the Jungle Brothers on, and you know what? Maybe Todd can do something with you too, and Crazy Legs and TDI. We'll get everybody on.
That would be awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Aimee. We're going to run a commercial right now, and you're officially off the hot seat. So that's peace, love, and soul.
Yeah, and this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad.